but we are going to get started standing up. And so you can start to find some stillness, maybe bringing the eyes down to look at the feet, doing any little adjustments, bringing the feet in closer, a little further apart. You can find a stance that feels nice and comfortable and supportive. Maybe rocking forward and back a couple times. And then after rocking forward and back a couple times, you can start to pause in the center and just kind of feeling that balance of that rocking forward and back. And we'll take it side to side. So again, kind of shifting the weight. You can make it a little bit more dancey. If you kind of want to have a sway, you can bring the hips into it, the shoulders into it. Just kind of practicing how it feels to shift the weight around in the feet and then coming back to center. You can slowly start to make your way to stillness, finding our mountain pose. And so we'll be using mountain pose throughout class as a way to connect back to our center, a way to check in with the body, with the breath, see how we're doing. That way we can make any adjustments we need to do to support ourselves. And so from our mountain pose with our stillness in the center, you can start to close the eyes if that feels okay, or starting to focus on a point on the floor or in front of you. And maybe starting to press the soles of the feet into the ground and reaching the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. Maybe noticing that that lengthens out the neck, and you can just allow the shoulders to soften a little bit, kind of relaxing down. And then you can stay right here with your hands by your side, or maybe bringing your dominant hand to your heart. And just starting to connect right here with the hand on the chest, if that's where you are, or wherever your arms are resting, just being right there. I'll take a couple natural breaths. Maybe you're already noticing if something's coming up for how you're feeling right now. A lot of times we're doing so many things throughout the day, focusing on things other than ourselves, that when we finally bring our attention to ourselves and slow down for a moment, different things can come up. So just recognizing that, honoring that, and being patient with whatever comes up for today. Start to add a little bit more awareness to the breath, seeing if you can breathe in a little bit deeper than you were. And breathing out for a little bit longer than you were. And staying with this flow of the breath. Feeling what expands as you breathe in and what relaxes as you breathe out. And mindfulness is just all about being in the present moment, being aware of what's happening while it's happening. And so our body always has to be in the present. It doesn't have a choice other than to be right here and right now. It's our mind that will wander to the future when we get anxious thoughts or create stories around things that may or may not happen. Or maybe our mind pulls us to the past where we reflect or dwell or get a little bit saddened by things that have already happened. And so connecting with what it's like to be right here, right now. Maybe if the hand is on the chest, you can connect to the heartbeat, the rhythm of your own heart, and just taking a moment to appreciate being alive, even if it's kind of hard right now. And so just taking another breath in. Big breath out. You can sigh this one out the mouth. The next time we breathe in, you can release both arms down, circling the arms all the way up. The palms can touch at the top. Slow exhale, guiding the hands all the way down to the center of the chest. I'll do a few more. You can go faster or slower than me, using the inhale to circle the arms up and glancing between the palms as they meet. Slow exhale, bring it down. Go through a few more at your own pace, connecting with the rhythm of your own breath. Maybe tuning into that contrast, so that stability with the lower body and the legs, and the mobility and the movement with the upper body. We'll take one more circle and then we'll meet with the hands together at the center of the chest. And once the hands get down to the center of the chest, you can inhale to reach the chest up towards the thumbs, maybe glancing towards the fingertips so the eyes can be closed. And let's just take a moment before we start to get more into our flow today is the first day of fall, and I just learned what fall equinox really is. So I'm kind of pumped about it, learning things. And so I found out that fall equinox is basically the day where there are equal amounts of light and day. And so equal amounts of sunshine and moonshine, not the drink, the actual moon. And so I just want to connect that to our practice. And so a lot of what I'm trying to do with Mindful Skulls and what my teachings are to offer is that we have that balance of light and dark in all of us. And so maybe things have felt especially heavy the last few months. And so knowing that we can always balance it out. We can't control what's happening in the world around us, but we can control how we take care of ourselves and how we show up for other people and spread our own light. So we can take a moment here to just kind of honor this balancing of light and dark in the day, and then maybe even reflecting that balancing of light and dark, good and bad, hard times and easier times in ourselves. Take another deep breath. Sigh it out. We'll start to take it into full sun salutations. So next inhale, arms circling all the way up again. You can start to have a little lift in the chest, maybe going into a slight back bend. You can send the hips and the thighs forward. Exhale into a forward fold. And we'll take it slow for our first one. You can allow the fingertips to hang heavy, or maybe grabbing opposite elbows. Checking in with the backs of the legs. You can bend one knee at a time. Just take a couple deep breaths to warm up the hamstrings, the calves. You can allow the top of the head to get heavy towards the floor, relaxing the neck. And we'll take 2 more deep breaths here. You're welcome to sigh it out the mouth. If you're holding on to something pretty heavy today, let it go. And we can start to release the fingertips back towards the ground. We'll inhale, hands to shins for a halfway lift. Exhale back to our fold. Next inhale, we'll circle it all the way back up. Again, little back bend if you want to take it further, maybe really sending the hip points forward. You can start to lift the chest up further towards the ceiling. And then exhale right back into our fold. And moving a little bit quicker, but if you need to slow it down or speed it up for your own body, go for it. We'll inhale, hands to shins, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. This time really pressing the hands into the ground. We'll step the left foot back. And coming into our runner's lunge, you can send the back heel away from you. And then start to reach the center of the chest past the toes. Maybe not going past the toes, but just sending it in that direction. You can take a couple breaths here, start to reach the back heel towards the back of the room. And take a full inhale. Exhale. One more deep breath. And then pressing the hands back into the ground. You can step the right foot back and press right up into a downward dog. So we'll push the ground away. You can spread the fingers nice and wide. On the exhale, dropping some weight into the heels. And taking a few cycles of breath if you want to pedal out the feet. Again, opening up the backs of the legs. Maybe shifting the hip side to side. And then when you're ready, starting to find some stillness in the center, couple deep breaths right here. Maybe sending the chest towards the tops of the legs. One more deep breath. And then next inhale, we'll lift the left leg long behind. Exhale to step it through. And finding a low lunge on this side, or sorry, runner's lunge on this side. Sending the back heel away. Maybe lifting up the center of the chest, almost like you're trying to reach it past the toes. And 3 more breaths here. Sending the back heel towards the back of the room. We'll take one more exhale. And then step the back foot forward. If you fumble a little bit, it's all good. Going right back to forward fold. Take a couple breaths, a couple sways to move it out a little bit. And then pausing back in the center. Inhaling, hands to shins, halfway lift. And exhale to fold. Then inhaling to press into the feet, circling all the way back up, palms touch at the top. Exhaling, hands to the center of the chest. Then you can release your arms down by your sides, going back to our mountain pose, finding our strong stillness in our center, taking about 3 deep breaths. Noticing if the heart rate started to increase a little bit, maybe feeling a little bit more energy in the body, or noticing that you don't have that much energy. That's okay too. Do what you need to do to support yourself throughout class. Take one more deep breath. Exhale. And then we'll take it into sun salutation B. So we'll go a little bit slower for the first one and then speed it up. You can inhale, sweep the arms all the way up, palms touch at the top. Exhaling to a forward fold. Next, inhale, hands slide up to the shins, halfway lift. Exhale, fold it down. Starting to have a deep bend in the knees. Next, inhale, we'll sweep the arms up, finding our chair pose. So maybe glancing between the hands. You can start to bring the weight into the heels. You can even give the little wiggle of the toes if you want to. Maybe kind of dropping the tailbone down. It's like you're trying to pull the belly button in. We'll take 2 more deep breaths. Maybe using the exhale to sit a little bit deeper. Maybe feeling a little bit of heat. 1 more deep breath. Exhale if you want to sit a little bit lower, and then on the inhale, we'll press all the way up, lift up, reach up, the chest can go up. Exhale to a forward fold. Then we'll have a couple extra breaths, wiggle it out, move it out. And then we'll start to find our center. Inhale, hands to shins, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. We're gonna add our cobra in this one. So stepping the left foot back and finding that runner's lunge. We'll stay for just 1 more deep breath. And then starting to press the hands down. We'll step back into our high plank, or maybe dropping the knees down, up to you. Exhale, bending the elbows, trying to keep the arms close to your side, lowering all the way down. You can let the tops of the feet rest on the floor. Next, inhale, you can press the tops of the feet down and then lift the chest up, keeping your focus down towards the ground. We'll take 1 more inhale. See if you can lift up a little bit more. You don't need to, maybe pulling the shoulders down. Exhale to fold. Starting to tuck the toes. You can press right back up into a tabletop or into a high plank. And then exhale for downward dog. And we'll stay for 3 rounds of breath here. You can decide if you want to keep pedaling out the feet or if you want to be still. Just focus on connecting back to the breath. One more exhale. Next, inhale, left leg lifts long behind. Exhale, stepping it through and finding our runner's lunge for this side. And taking a couple deep breaths here. One more exhale. And then we'll step the back foot forward, going back into our forward fold. Again, couple breaths, couple little movements if you'd like. And then we'll start to land back in the center. Inhaling, hands to shins, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Next, inhale, deep bend in the knees, going back to chair pose. Arms can swing up. Trying to bring a little bit more weight into the heels. 2 more breaths. Deep breath in, lifting up through the chest. Exhale to settle in. 1 more. Next, inhale, pressing into the feet, lifting all the way up through the chest. Exhale, back to a forward fold. And this time, you can grab opposite elbows, or maybe having a deep bend in the knees, and you can wrap the arms around the backs of the legs. And letting the head get heavy, chin to chest. About 3 rounds of breath here to just check in. So that little version of sun salutation B. Might have gotten the heart rate going a little bit. Maybe brought some heat into the legs. Just taking a couple more nurturing breaths here to reset, restore. Take another deep breath. On the exhale, you can allow the fingertips to drop back towards the ground. We'll inhale, hands to shins, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Next, inhale, arms circling all the way back up. Palms touch at the top. Exhaling, hands at the center of the chest. And take a moment right here. Deep inhale through the nose. Maybe sighing this one out the mouth. And then on the next exhale, you can step the left foot back, staying lifted on the toes. We're going to find a high lunge. You can kind of wiggle the back foot behind or scoot the front foot forward. You can find your stance, how much distance you want between the feet. And then when you're ready, again, connecting, just being here in the moment right now. You can do this by noticing the front foot, kind of pressing the front heel, maybe the toes into the ground, starting to add a little bit more of a bend into the front knee if you have space for it. And then we can start to connect to what's happening with our center. And just see what it feels like to start to pull the belly button in towards your spine. And maybe noticing that that brings a little bend into the back knee. And that's totally fine. You can even just start to bend the back knee. You can connect to your center. Notice how it feels to pull the belly button in. And then slowly start to straighten the back leg out. It doesn't have to go completely straight. And so just to show you a little bit of what I'm talking about, maybe I'm in my high lunge, but I'm like this. And so when I start to bend my back knee and pull my belly button in, I start to come a little bit more in the center. I know this is a long time to hold. We'll just take 2 more breaths. Full inhale. Big exhale. Maybe next inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, back heel drops, warrior 2. Oh, that feels so good after holding that. I'm really sweaty. So take a couple breaths just to settle in right here. Maybe rolling out the wrist a couple times. And then connecting back to the front foot. Again, really pressing into the ground, bending into the front knee. Pressing the outer edge of the back foot into the ground. We'll inhale, reach the fingertips in the opposite directions. Maybe feeling a little stretch in the shoulders. And on the exhale, you can wrap the right arm on top of the left, a little hug, and you can drop your chin towards your chest. And we'll take 3 deep breaths here. Maybe choosing to close the eyes. Noticing the strength in the legs, the softness with the upper body, and that coexistence of the 2. Take 1 more exhale. And then we'll inhale, open the arms all the way back up. Exhaling, hands to the center of the chest. And just switching to the other side. So again, it doesn't have to be graceful. You can fumble. Starting to turn the right toes in, left toes spin out. And finding your high lunge on this side. So I know you might be facing the opposite way of the screen. Just listen to my voice. But again, adjusting a little bit, you can play with your stance. Maybe scooting the back foot further behind or bringing it forward. Connecting to the breath. Connecting to the front foot. And pressing into the ground. Bending into the front knee. And again, just little mindful moments to check in with the body. What is it like to start to pull the belly button towards the spine a little bit? Maybe bending the back knee. And you can play around with straightening the leg out and adding that bend again. We'll be here for 3 more breaths. You can wipe the upper lip if you need to. I actually saw something fly. That was kind of gross. I just wanted to share that with you though. We'll take 1 more deep breath. Exhale. Maybe the next inhale, the arms reach up. And then exhale, back heel drops, warrior 2, let it go. Maybe you do a little shimmy. It felt stressful. And really reach the fingertips in opposite directions. feel that stretch in the shoulders. Pressing into the outer edge of the back foot, trying to keep the bend in the front knee. Take one more inhale, reach through the fingers. Exhale, this time left arm crosses over right. It's a little hug. You can drop your chin to your chest. 3 deep breaths. Welcome to close the eyes. One more inhale. Big exhale. Next inhale, arms open back up into warrior 2. And then we'll exhale, bringing the hands to the hips. You can turn both sets of toes to face the center. We'll inhale, start to find a lift in the chest. The head can drop back a little bit. Slow exhale, hinging at the hips, leaning forward. We'll stop when we get about halfway. You can send the backs of the legs, send the sit bones behind you, and then reach through the crown of the head. We'll take another inhale here. And then exhale, slowly coming all the way down. Maybe the hands go to the floor. You can take a little Spider-Man movement, kind of going side to side, bending into one knee at a time. Checking in with the hips. And then when you're ready, we'll slowly start to find our center. And keep sending the backs of the legs behind you, allowing the top of the head to get heavy towards the floor. Take a full breath in. Big dramatic sigh out the mouth. And we'll gradually take it into a twist. So feel free to take what's working, leave what's not. You don't have to commit to any shape. So bringing the left hand underneath your face, we'll bring the right hand to the right hip. And just checking in right here. Maybe starting to turn the top shoulder a little bit behind, kind of bringing the shoulder blades together. Check in right there, and then if you can, take it further. You can start to crawl the left hand towards the right foot. Maybe grabbing onto a toe or the outer edge of your foot. You can grab onto the calf, whatever's in your reach. And then we'll start to rotate the top arm a little bit more behind. You can find your twist for this side. Maybe reaching the right fingers up towards the ceiling, and 3 deep breaths wherever you are. One more, maybe twisting a little bit deeper if you have space for it, or just cherishing where you are. Last inhale. On the exhale, if the right hand is lifted, you can start to bring your hand back to your hip, and we'll slowly crawl that left hand back to the center. You can drop the right hand down to meet it, maybe giving a little bend in the knees, giving the backs of the legs a break. And do a little wiggle motion side to side. And then slow inhale, allowing the top of the head to get heavy towards the floor, reaching the sit bones and the hip creases towards the ceiling. And then setting up for the other side. So starting with the left hand on the left hip. And you can do a little motion check for yourself right here. Maybe just rotating the left shoulder a little bit behind. Finding how the twist is feeling. And then if you want to go for it, starting to crab walk that right hand on over to the left foot, reaching for a toe or the outer edge of the foot, ankle, calf, maybe your pet, I don't know, whatever you're going for. And then starting to bring the shoulder blades together, bending the chest towards the side of the room. And maybe left hand reaches towards the ceiling. Wherever you are, 3 more deep conscious breaths here, feeling into the stretch. One more inhale. If you want to try to reach a little bit higher. On the exhale, if the arm is lifted, hand comes back to the hip. Slowly bringing the right hand back underneath the face. And then exhale, both hands down. And take a couple breaths, a little side to side movements here. And then we'll inhale, hands to shins, wide halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Next, inhale, little bend in the knees. We'll slowly come all the way up. Palms touch at the top. And exhaling, hands to the center of the chest. Again, we'll pause for a breath. You can keep the wide stance in your legs. We're going to take it into triangle. So now just turning the right toes. You can have the back foot a little bit of a diagonal. Again, play with your stance if you want the feet wider or closer. We'll inhale, arms out to your side, and start to press into the heels. Inhale, front hand starts to reach forward. And exhale, you can take it nice and slow, just starting to lower the hand down. And so same little mindful body awareness check here. You can check in with the side body. And so noticing if you're trying to go all the way to the floor and maybe you're kind of ended up in some weird positions, I don't know, check in, see if it feels right, if you can breathe where you are. And then if it's not working, no shame in your game, start to just bring the bottom arm up a little bit. And you don't want to force anything that's not for you right now, but just feeling a nice stretch on the left side. And so settling into wherever you are for 3 more breaths. Maybe choosing to look up at the top hand or the bottom hand. Last 2. And last 1. After the last exhale, starting to press into both heels, we'll inhale all the way back up. And then taking it into reverse. So the back arm can either rest on your back leg or wrapping around to find the left hip crease. Give a little wiggle with my fingers. And so we'll inhale, send the right hand forward. You can flip the palm and then exhale for reverse. So with our first triangle, we were stretching our left side. Now we got front right side here. We'll take a couple deep breaths, reaching the chest towards the ceiling. Maybe relaxing a little bit in the jaw or the forehead for the last 2. One more inhale. Exhale, arms come out to your side. And then just switching around the feet again, starting to turn the right toes in, left toes out. Really want you to be aware of the walls on both sides of you with this class, spatial awareness. And so starting with finding your footing, you can adjust the stance, pressing into the heels, reaching the front hand forward, so left hand forward. Slow exhale, lowering it down for triangle. Again, noticing if you're tempted to do all the way to the floor, or if that's working, or if you come up a little bit higher, and then a few more deep breaths. We'll take last breath. Staying for the exhale. Pressing into the feet. Inhale all the way back up to center. And figure out what this back arm's gonna do. Back leg or wrapping around for the left hip crease. Inhale, front hand reaches forward, flipping the palm. Exhale, lift it up, reach it up, getting that little stretch on the left side now. And 3 deep breaths. Notice how the breath feels here for the last one. We'll inhale to reach up. Exhaling, arms back down. And you can bring hands to the hips. We'll flip the toes face forward again. You can start to heel toe the toes all the way back in. And if you want to adjust yourself to face the screen again, go for it. I don't know how I turned everyone around or where you ended up. We'll come back to our mountain pose. And feeling nice and strong, lifted in the chest, relaxing the shoulders, connecting to the feet and their heaviness on the ground, the support the ground is offering. Full breath in. Big dramatic sigh out. Next inhale, arms circle all the way up. Reach, reach, reach. Palms touch at the top. Exhaling, forward fold. And staying here a little bit longer, having that sway side to side. Maybe going back to arms dropping behind the knees, allowing the belly to rest on top of the thighs. And just taking a few deep belly breaths right here, slowing the heart rate back down. Just like our balance of light and day, dark and light, it can also be a balance of work and rest. So being grateful for everything that our body has done for us so far. And just giving ourselves permission to relax and restore when we need to. Take another deep breath. On the exhale, releasing the fingertips towards the ground. You can press the hands into the ground, step yourself back to a downward dog. Take 1 or 2 more deep breaths here, either being still or having little movements. And then whenever you're ready, use your exhale to drop the knees down, bringing the knees as wide as you'd like, and pushing back for child's pose. And forehead can be down or maybe chin down if you want a little stretch for the front of the throat. And about 5 to 7 breaths here. You can have a little rocking side to side of the forehead or the chin. And sending a little bit of attention towards the hips. How are they feeling? Take a deep breath for the hips. And checking in with the belly. Deep breath for the belly. Maybe feeling the belly rise between the legs on the inhale. And big exhale. And a little check-in for the shoulders and the neck. Deep breath for the shoulders and the neck. Deep breath out. One more breath here. And on the inhale, we'll start to pull ourselves back towards the tabletop. From the tabletop, you can just rock the hips side to side a few times. And then start to find your center. And we'll just do a couple cat-cows, really gentle. You don't need to try to go to any extreme. On the next inhale, you can allow the belly to drop towards the floor, send the chest through the arms, a slight drop back of the head. And exhale, pulling the belly button in, rounding everything forward. Chin can go towards the chest, pushing the ground away. And just do a couple more at your own pace. And then moving nice and slow. And then as you're ready, you can pause back in the center. We'll just start to walk the hands a little bit further forward. Exhale, lowering all the way down. You can stack one hand on top of the other, find a crocodile. Forehead can rest on top of the hands. And taking a few deep breaths into the low belly. A couple more rounds of breath right here. And you're rocking the hips, just allowing yourself to relax. And you can start to roll yourself over to lying on your back. You can go straight to hugging the knees into the chest and rocking side to side. Maybe lifting the forehead up towards the knees, tuck yourself into a little ball. Next inhale, just reaching the arms and the feet in the opposite directions. You can rotate the wrists and the ankles a few times. Hearing that little snap, crackle, pop.
And then exhale, sweeping your arms down by your sides. If there's any little movements that you need to do before you settle into our Shavasana, our final resting, you can go ahead. All right, starting to connect here. Maybe getting a little rock of the head side to side to release the neck. A little wiggle of the feet and the legs, releasing any last buildup in the muscles and allowing the legs to fall apart. You're welcome to keep the arms by your sides and maybe having that little added connection to the body, a hand to the belly, a hand to the chest. And just starting to allow the autopilot, the natural breath to kick on. The eyes can start to settle or close. And coming back to our mindfulness practice. That whenever the mind is trying to pull you to somewhere other than being right here, always bring your attention back to the breath, the movement happening naturally in the body with the breath. Checking in with the pace of the heart, the rhythm of the heart, the reminder to be grateful to be alive. And as you continue to just rest, breathe, and be right here as you are right now, I'll share the quote of the week and then ring the singing bowl. So the quote of the week is by Sylvia Boorstein, and she says, "Mindfulness is the aware, balanced acceptance of the present experience. It isn't more complicated than that. It is opening to or receiving the present moment, pleasant or unpleasant, just as it is, without either clinging to it or rejecting it." And so you're welcome to continue resting, breathing, being here just as you are right now. So thank you all for showing up to practice for yourself and then hopefully spreading this love and kindness out to those who you encounter. So honoring the light and the dark sides of us all. Namaste.